Hi guys, welcome back to a new video. It has been ages since I filmed like a sit down chatty video. I have really only posted vlogs for the past year plus, but as you can see by the title, I have a pretty big life update to share and I have a lot to say, so I thought we would sit down and chit chat. I am in my car. I realized that the last time I filmed like a life update moving announcement video, I also filmed it in my car, and I feel like this should be tradition now. I just love filming in my car. It feels more casual than like sitting down with a ring light. So here we are, buckle up, grab a snack, grab a little beverage. It is 4 p.m. I'm drinking a coffee, if that tells you anything about how my day is going. Also, daylight savings just passed, so the sun is about to set in like 30 minutes. The lighting's probably gonna get wonky, but it's fine. Anyway, to cut to the chase, as you can see, I am moving, and I'm not just moving to another apartment in Jersey. I am actually moving to South Carolina, to Charleston specifically. This is like such a long time coming. I have been talking with my family and my friends about wanting to move to Charleston for about a year and a half now. I feel like I have so many things to say, but I guess I'll start by giving some background context. If you are newer to my channel, for context, I live in Jersey. I've lived here for the last 13 years. I originally am from Nebraska, born and raised in Lincoln, but I moved out to Jersey when I was 13 because of my mom's job. And so I went to 8th grade and then high school in Jersey. I'm from like northeast Jersey. I did go away for college for 1 semester in Ohio, but then I ended up transferring back to a school in Jersey. So I pretty much haven't left. And then after graduating college, I've lived in a few different areas of Jersey, but always kind of the same like northeast area. Aside from that 1 semester of college, I've never really experienced living away from home. My parents are here in New Jersey. My friends, literally all of my friends, because all of my high school friends and college friends either live in Jersey or in New York City. So literally everyone's here. Like, this is definitely my home. But I feel like for a while, like honestly 2 or 3 years, I would say, I've kind of been like itching for something different. I think there's a lot of reasons that go into that. I don't have anything tying me down specifically to Jersey. So I'm 26 years old. I work full-time, but my agency is fully remote. So we have a couple offices, one of them in New York, but we're not required to go into office a certain number of days of the week. I can work 100% remote, and I can move to any city that I want to. I just feel like I should be taking more advantage of that. So definitely kind of just that like wanting to switch things up and try something new and get out of my comfort zone has been in the back of my mind for a few years now. Also, on the more like practical side, I go through a little like mini crisis every time I am coming up on the end of a lease, because obviously where I'm at in Jersey, I'm like right outside of New York City, so it's expensive. Right now I'm about a 20-minute train ride outside of Manhattan. You're not getting a lot for your money. Like, I'm in a studio right now, it's obviously not a lot of space, and I still pay a pretty penny for rent. So I think that's been another huge factor. Again, like, I don't have anything tying me here. I don't personally like feel a desire to have access to New York City. Like, obviously I love New York and I go into the city pretty often to like go out, see friends, go out to dinners, whatever. But at the end of the day, it just doesn't really make sense for me to be paying as much as I am for the proximity of New York, because that's not even really a huge like benefit to me. So cost of living is definitely a big thing. And I will caveat, this is kind of jumping ahead, but like Charleston is not by any means the most affordable city. It's actually really expensive and only getting more and more expensive because Charleston's becoming very popular. So very much recognize that. I think my perception of like affordable rent is so skewed from being here. But I will say, where I'm moving to, I'm not moving like right in the hub of downtown Charleston. I'm going to be a little bit outside downtown, so it's definitely more affordable than if you live like right in downtown. And yeah, I'm not gonna say like exactly how much, but guys, the amount of money I'm going to be saving on rent is actually insane, and I'm getting so much more space. It's crazy. And I just feel like for me, like, I'm such a homebody. I care about my home space so much. I'm such a suburbs girl at heart too. Like, I love having my car, and you know, obviously I have all these things in Jersey, but I just think quality of life there, like, I'm gonna have so much more space. Another factor too is just the weather. I, like everyone, I'm someone who I'm so easily affected by the seasons, and there's such a stark difference in my mood and my productivity in the summer versus the winter. And I'm kind of at a point where I'm like, why am I continuing every year to put myself through the January, February, March months when I don't have to do that? Like, I get so down bad when it's cold here, and not just cold, but like the lack of leaves on the trees and greenery, and like the wind, it just hits you when you go outside for 2 seconds, and it's just depressing. And like, obviously, you know, vitamin D literally makes you happier. I think I would be a lot happier in a place that is warmer year round, and I feel like Charleston is kind of that perfect in between, because you still get your 4 seasons, but their winters are like super mild. It gets cold, like there are days where it gets like down in the 30s at night, but for the most part it seems like 40s, 50s is kind of the lowest it gets during the day in the winter. And obviously you have so many more weeks out of the year where you're able to be outside, go to the beach. So yeah, I feel like those are like kind of the big 3 reasons as to why I even started thinking about moving out of Jersey. So I guess to kind of pivot to the next thing, why Charleston? Take a beverage break. If you guys followed me last year in 2023, I spent a month in Charleston during the summer. I, at the time, was in between apartments here. I had moved out of my last apartment and then wasn't really finding anything that I was liking here. So I put my stuff in storage and was living at home for a few months. And during that time, I got an Airbnb in Charleston for a month. To take a step back, even before that, like, of why Charleston was even on my radar, I had always wanted to visit there. I had never been there before I spent that month there last summer. Funny enough, my mom actually lived in Charleston for like a very short amount of time, a few months, when she was in her 20s. And it's very like full circle, whatever, but she, for my entire life, has said that Charleston is her favorite city in the US. She's always said that she wants to retire there. Like, she raves about Charleston, so I always like knew in the back of my head, like, oh, I want to visit there. And then I feel like just in the past few years, I've been seeing so much about Charleston. It's obviously become very touristy in the last few years, which isn't like great, but it's, you know, a big bachelorette destination and just like girls trip spot. And so I just feel like I was seeing more and more about Charleston as a city, and I feel like my ideal place is like a mid-sized city, like smaller than a New York, LA, Chicago, Austin, but still with enough things going on to where you're never bored. Like, I need to not have just like 5 restaurants to choose from. Like, I want there to be a big food scene, a lot of bars to go to, always like markets and festivals and things going on. It just seemed like Charleston was very that, like the perfect kind of mid-size, but always something to do, always something going on. So I've just been seeing a lot about it online, and I was like, I feel like Charleston checks every box of like what I'm looking for in a city that I could potentially live in. So when I was going for that month 2 summers ago, I was going with like the intention of kind of getting a vibe check, going there and seeing if I could see myself living there someday. I wanted to go for a full month. I didn't just want to go for like a week and have it feel like a vacation. Like, I wanted to go and just work from there, like live my normal life basically. Spoiler alert, I loved it. And I feel like a big teller for me, I'm someone that gets homesick so easily. Even if I'm going away on a trip with friends for like a long weekend, by the end of the trip, I am like so ready to go home, and I feel so homesick. I miss my pets, I miss my bed. Like, I just am someone who gets homesick so easily. I had never been on a trip for a full month. Like, that was by far the longest trip I'd ever been on, and I did not feel 1 ounce of homesickness at all. I was so sad to leave at the end. Like, I did not want to go home, which I feel like was such a good, you know, reassuring feeling for me, because that's not normal for me. I felt like not only did it kind of meet all the criteria that I was looking for on paper, but I just felt in my gut that like I could 100% see myself living there. You're probably wondering like, okay, why didn't you move there then, like right after that month? So obviously I ended up signing a lease for another 15 months here in Jersey. So that's where I live now, in my little studio. And I think at the time, like the timing just wasn't right. I think, you know, as much as I loved Charleston, I still had a lot of fears about moving to a completely new city where I didn't really know anyone. And then probably like the biggest factor was at this time I had just started seeing my now boyfriend, and he lives in Philly, so not Jersey, but like northeast area. So when I went down there, that was like, you know, when we had first started talking and hanging out. So I think if I had moved down there right after that trip, like our relationship probably wouldn't have worked out, because that's like a lot of distance. So I just feel like the timing wasn't right and it wasn't meant to be. Very cliche, but like everything happens for a reason, and I waited, and now like everything is falling into place so perfectly. So this feels like very much the right timing. So why now? Why is now the right time? Basically, my lease in my studio is up at the end of December, and my boyfriend's lease in Philly is up at the end of November. So for the past year and a half, we've been doing, I call it medium distance. I don't want to claim long distance because I know there are people that are really long distance. I'm not saying that New Jersey to Philly is long distance, but it's about an hour and a half one way. So every single weekend, one of us is driving a total of 3 hours. And I feel like especially in the past few months, we've been really feeling the fatigue of that. Like in the beginning, we were like, oh, this isn't so bad. Like I don't mind the drive, it's fine, like whatever. And it is, like it's not the end of the world. But I think doing that every single weekend for the past year and a half has drained us, and we're both like so over it. And it is exhausting to like pack a bag, fully like go on a trip basically for the entire weekend, and it just throws off your whole routine. It's a lot. And even couples that I know that live in the same city, but like, you know, uptown Manhattan to downtown, like it's a trek, and you're like packing a whole bag and kind of like going on like a little mini trip. Any sort of distance is hard in a relationship. So we knew that after our leases were up at the end of this year, we weren't going to continue doing the same thing that we've been doing. So we kind of had like 3 options basically. Option 1 would be for me to move to Philly, which I really like Philly. I have really enjoyed exploring Philly more since dating Lorenzo, because I probably wouldn't have spent that much time there had I not started dating him. So it's been fun to like explore a new city, but I don't necessarily think that I see myself living in Philly. And he also like doesn't want me to move there. Like he's ready to leave. He's kind of in the same situation as me, like nothing tying him to Philly, like he's kind of over it. So option 2 would have been for him to move up here, either to Jersey or to New York, but same kind of thing. Like he didn't really have a desire to do that. He is very much on board of like trying to save money and move somewhere with a lower cost of living. So like that, you know, don't come here. And again, like I was ready to leave, so like that didn't really make sense either. So the only like real option that we had considered is both of us moving to a totally new city. So that's another layer of this life update, is I'm moving to Charleston with my boyfriend, and we are moving in together. That's gonna be a lot of big change all at once, but I am so excited. I feel like this is gonna be such a good change, and I have just so many things that I'm looking forward to, just kind of all lined up so perfectly. I feel like, what are the odds that I get into this relationship? Both of us are fully remote. He works remote too, so he doesn't have to be in Philly or in a certain city to do his job. I'm in the same situation, so both of us are able to move wherever we want. Both of us like all the same things and had all the same things that we were looking for in a city. Like he also loves the warm weather. He loves the beach. My boyfriend loves the beach more than anyone I know. Also, so when I was in Charleston for a month, he came down to visit me for a long weekend, and that was his first time in Charleston, and we had like literally the best weekend ever. And then him and I both went to Charleston back in May, which I vlogged that weekend. I'll put a little card on the screen. That's a really fun vlog, but we kind of went on that trip. It was just a vacation. We were going for his birthday weekend, but we were also kind of going to be like, okay, let's make sure like we actually still love Charleston, like can actually see ourselves living there. So we've been talking about this since way before that trip even, but that trip was to kind of come back and like get another feeler, spend a few more days there. And yeah, we've been talking about this forever, but we fully like locked it in a month and a half ago. We signed a lease. I think when I'm posting this, I am moving about 2 weeks from now. We have an elaborate moving plan. It's honestly gonna be miserable. I hate the actual like process of moving. I love like once you're moved in, all the unpacking and the organizing, like that is my bread and butter, but the actual process of like getting things from one place to the next is miserable, and I've never done an out-of-state move, so it's like 10 times more chaotic. But we are gonna be doing that right after Thanksgiving. I already took a whole week of work off, like that first week of December, so I'm gonna have a little over a week to fully move down there, unpack, get, you know, new furniture, get organized, film moving vlogs. I'm so excited for the moving content. I have like a million things planned out in my head, so definitely subscribe if you aren't already, because the moving vlogs are coming very, very soon. But yeah, our apartment is hopefully really nice. We haven't seen it in person. That's another thing. I feel good about it. It's like an apartment complex, so you know, you can read reviews. It's not like we're buying a house. And we did a virtual tour. We're gonna be living in a 2-bedroom apartment. It's so spacious compared to what I have now. Like it's a full living room, dining room, kitchen, pantry, laundry room, 2 bedrooms, 2 walk-in closets, 2 bathrooms. Like I'm so excited at all of that, and I'm gonna be saving so much money. Like I'm sick. That's the update. The sun is starting to set. I feel like I need to wrap it up, but thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely follow along for all the updates. I will probably be posting more on my Instagram stories and TikToks and Reels and stuff, so definitely follow me over there to get more real-time moving updates before the full moving vlogs come to YouTube. I am so excited for this journey. If you live in Charleston, comment below. I would ask for Rex, but I think that I have enough restaurants and bars saved on my Google Maps to last me the next like 10 years. But if you have anything that you're like, Maddie, you have to try this, I'm sure it's already on my radar, but like feel free to comment. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you in another video very soon. Bye.